because this was wonderful, give me energy, nitric oxide. And it naturally occurs in beets. But how many people love to go eat beets? They taste like dirt to me. I'm glad you love them.
They're good.
You like them? Fabulous. Eat them. Eat the greens. But what they do is they pick them when they're about 8 inches tall. That's when they peak with betaine. And so they process all the beets about 7 weeks into their growth cycle, and then they dry it again under 70 degrees, and it's alive in a pill for us, those that don't like it. So I love it. So if I just gave somebody Cyruta, I would help them. I would help heal their blood vessels. If I gave somebody just the soybean lecithin, I would at least carry the cholesterol to the liver. But if they have a liver issue, it's going to magnify that effect. And so they come back and say, I'm really constipated. What do I do? Like, you need beta food. You need beets and beet greens. Can I just eat it? Yes, but you got to eat a lot. Okay, I'll do it. I'm still constipated. Okay, you're going to need something better until, more until I do that. So just about every pill has an entire beet in it. So they'll do like 4 each meal. Who wants to eat that many beets at the beginning? Once we get you kind of fixed and everything grooving and those cells in the liver healing, hey, now just put beets in your diet. But we're going to fix other things. So cholesterol, I want you to get out of this. How many got a lot? Is it good? Okay. Questions. We've covered a lot to this point.
I have a question,
Yeah.
Dr. Munson. When you talk about grains, can you kind of give us a definition of what you mean by grains?
Absolutely. So grains, anything bread, pasta, chips, crackers, and my favorite cereal, it's all grain. Anything and everything. People say, well, I eat oatmeal. It's one of the lower glycemic index. You could scoot by with it, but in the beginning I wouldn't even do that. Potatoes we have to count, because that's a starch. Sweet potatoes, just sugar, not a starch. Very different. Eat as many sweet potatoes as you want. A lot of vitamin A. Very good for us. Now,
rice, though?
Rice is a grain. Yeah. And so you can do limited amounts of those type of whole grains like brown rice. Now, it would be a very different planet if none of us were allowed to eat any grain that wasn't freshly ground and then baked. Because in order to have any bread sit on a shelf, you have to take that germ, everything nutritive value of the grain, pull it off and leave the white stuff behind, and now have it last for more than a few days on the shelf. If anybody had a grandmother that freshly ground wheat and then made bread, and it was as dense as all get up, and you couldn't even eat hardly half a piece because your body said, that's enough. But now you can eat a whole loaf and it's still going, where in the heck is my nutrients? But they're not there. And so if you grind your own grain, you may have grain. But I guarantee it, you won't want to have 4 pieces of bread in a day. Your body's, I remember eating, I'm like, gosh, Kennedy is so dense. I'm full. I don't think I can eat anymore. I remember feeling that way, eating that kind of bread. Go ahead.
Another question. So the other night I had some pasta that was actually made out of garbanzo bean flour.
Yep.
And I had a little bit of rice gluten to kind of,
Yep.
I guess, bind it together.
Sure.
What can you say about something like that?
You might have to test and see. Now, for most people, when I put them on a phase 2 diet, I tell them under 20 grams of carbs per meal. 60 per day is their allowed amount. It's not, strict Atkins or something like that says none, 5, whatever. You're allowed some. And if we can stay away from some of the starches, we're doing even better. And so I tend to pick and choose. Like for me, I realize I cannot do more than 15. I just realize that's really a limit for me. Now, how would I know if you guys are overdoing grains? Because I want you to have this. So a couple things. You'll feel it, you'll feel fatigued. But you'll also start getting little red spots on your skin. And when you go home tonight, I want you all to write this down. I got to look at my body, bright light, and see if I have any little tiny red spots. Okay, those are cherry hemangiomas. What that is the blood vessel is swelling and now going to the edge of the skin. So it's how we tell if you have too many. You've seen them on people, little red spots. Those are cherry hemangiomas. So they're way overdoing grains. Their sugar content, astronomical. Yeah.
You're including potatoes in grains too?
Yep. Potatoes are starch. Remember, when it hits water, boom! It's just trillions of molecules of sugar. And so, we look at grass, densely packed sugar called fiber. We can't break it down. That's what fiber is. But I need fiber. It's sugar. But you can't break it down. It's okay. Cows can. They have 4 stomachs. Okay? We could eat bark off of a tree or eat wood. It's fiber. It's just densely packed sugar. Every time you look at a tree, you're just looking at densely packed sugar. Hey, I'm burning a bunch of sugar in my stove. It's called wood. But we can't break it down. Animals can because they have different digestive systems than we do. That's why we eat the animal.
Are skin tags classified as those cherry whatever?
Yep, skin tags are also. You'll do low grains and you'll watch the skin tags eventually fall off.
Yeah, because doing keto, I've lost a couple.
Yes, you will. Yep. So the ketogenic diet, I'm just going to put an input in there, and I've already talked about this. A lot of vitamin A, very important. So lots of vegetables, different colored vegetables, all in your diet, because to process that kind of protein, we need vitamin A, and that's where people get in trouble. So the ketogenic diet, because vitamin A is the main vitamin that's the anti-infection vitamin. That's why it was the first one discovered, and that's why it's called A. Anti-infection vitamin, vitamin A. And so with A, our body is able to take that protein and not have it build up in tissue, which tends to cause problems. And now we get kind of cancer situations going on. So that's the high protein. That's what it'll do. So the China study, anybody read the China study? Anybody heard it? Okay. So they were in China, and we gave peanuts after peanuts to China because they're malnourished. And we said, hey, we'll feed them peanuts because it's protein, and that's what they need. And we realized that when we fed them a lot of peanuts, they got cancer. Just like the affluent areas in China where they eat a lot of meat. Like, what's going on? So they took a rat, and they said, hey, let's feed it high protein. And 20% protein diet, the rat got cancer. They reduced it to 5% protein diet, and the cancer went away. And they went back up to 20%, the same rat got cancer. Reduced the diet to 5%, cancer went away, and the same rat. Just kept doing that the life of the rat. Like, something's wrong here. And he says in the book, I am not advocating vegetarianism. We have found something we can't explain, and it needs a lot more research. But what he didn't know is what we knew, which is, what did you feed the rat? Did you have any vitamin A in its diet? And if we fed it high vitamin A, could we stop the cancer growing in a 20% protein diet? Probably. So, yeah.
So I advocate being a pescatarian.
Pescatarians, explain.
Because you're going to get rid of the grain and the corn, which unfortunately America is their belt, and their belt is widening as a result.
Yes. And,
I had a burger tonight.
You're really talking about my...
Yeah. It's moderation.
Exactly. You're talking about my favorite grain, so you got to walk carefully. For me, if I'm going to do a grain, it's corn chips. I love them. I've eaten nachos all my life for lunch. My wife, after 10 years, she's like, you still want nachos for lunch? Yes, I still do. And then when I realized, oh my gosh, grains are really killing me. And I made the leap and I stopped. I had so much energy. I mean, here it is almost 8 o'clock at night, and I am still on fire. I would never have been that way eating grains. I would be exhausted at 2 in the afternoon until about 3:30, and then I'd feel a little bit better, and then I'd finally feel good enough at 10 o'clock at night, and I'd be a night owl because my adrenals finally felt a little bit better. My cortisol was all screwed up. And when I realized what I was doing and I reversed all of a sudden I wanted to go to bed at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. And I wanted to get up at 5 in the morning because that just felt right. And I had energy all day long. And if I ate grains, I would have to nap for an hour. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And so I saw what they were doing because they were just empty. Now, if our grains were different, like I talked about, and they were ground, you would grind them fresh and make wonderful pasta and bread and cereal out of it, we wouldn't have the health challenges. Wheat germ has so much in it. It is a health food in and of itself. But, who uses it? Nobody. It just goes to waste. It just rots. If you grind grain, you have 7 days. And that 7 days, it's denaturing roughly 10% a day, and finally it just goes rancid after 7 days. So we grind all this grain, and we put it in a bag, and we shipped it off the market. It got there, and they're like, hey, there's weevils and everything in it. It's rotten.
Oh,
It's no good. Oh, what are we going to do? I just lost all this money.
Oh, well.
I know. I'll pull the germ off so nothing can grow in it. And I'll ship it. Because it's a monetary reason, not anything else. No bakery should be allowed to sell any bakery goods that weren't ground fresh on site. Could you imagine? I am going to step first in line to have that donut. It'd actually be good for you. Fried in real lard, could you imagine? From grass-fed animals? It'd be awesome! Man! God, I'll take a dozen right now. It sounds so good, my mouth is watering.
You always got what you have to do. Always.
Any other questions? Great question.
I have a question about fiber.
Yes.
So if you're eliminating grains, what are the best ways to get fiber?
So grain is okay fiber. It's really not that great, but ultimately it's our vegetables. We hear, and I give people an easy mark to hit, and I say easy because seven servings of vegetables. Some people are out there, 7, I'm doing 12. That should be at least 12. I'm like, you know what? I'm just happy if you can get 7 servings of vegetables in your body. And they're different. I eat 7 servings of carrots. That is not what I'm talking about.
Sure, in Oregon.
And so as we become eclectic in our vegetable source and we have this nice wide variety of different colors, hey, that's what we really want to see in the diet. So 7 servings of vegetables is a lot of fiber. Yeah. And weirdly enough, it's a lot of protein. It's hard to go low protein. And when I do the heart talk coming up, and we'll probably do in about 6 months, I've scheduled out that far, we're going to talk about things like, how do we help the heart heal? How can we do a low protein week and really start stripping off systems and really gain energy back and watch the body change and really start healing one of the easiest organs in the human body to heal? Think about it. What organ can never stop? Well, whatever organ can't stop has to be the easiest to heal because it can't afford to break. It has to heal on the fly. Imagine me working on my car while it's running. Hard to do. So the heart is one of the easiest organs to heal. I've proved it over and over in my office. But people think, I've got heart disease, I'm going to die. What? No. You're just really deficient in a lot of things. The heart is a fourth tier organ. 5 tiers of organs. First level is where mild problems are. As you go down those tiers, you have worse and worse problems. It's a tier 4. It's close to the end. Last tier, nervous system. It's the last to go. If it's going, we got issues. It takes time.
This concludes another episode of Revealing Wholeness with Dr. Troy Munson. If you have any questions concerning this podcast or others, you can reach Dr. Munson by email at chiroman, that's CHIRO-man, @dr.com. Or you can call him at his office during office operation hours at 360-893-8586. This show is sponsored by Infinity Whole Health on the Disruptors Podcast Network.
The information on this podcast from Dr. Troy Munson is meant to educate the listener on a variety of health issues. It is not meant to diagnose or treat any conditions.